Guys, football's back. College football's back. It's like here. Also, National Tight End Day. I think that's in like October or something. I really don't know. Anyway though, yeah, that's what we're going through. Yeah, off the topic of, college football and all that. We'll be going through tight ends today as tier week continues. First, big position. Most of you guys should know these guys. It'll be pretty fun to go through. Let's get into these tight ends. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this 2025 NFL tight end ranking. I will be going through a lot of tight ends today. I think we have I don't even know, a good amount. I didn't make this tier list for the first time actually through tier weeks. So again, shout out to who made this. 118 CMP underscore 18. You're the dude, bro. No, I just don't need that. To be honest with you, I just don't. Okay. Anyway, though, like I was saying, yes, shout out to that guy for making this. That makes my life a lot easier. And also looking at his tiers, low key, I'm probably just gonna use these. I really like what's going on here. In terms of what we're gonna get back to, we're doing receivers tomorrow, so just get ready for that. That's gonna be pretty wild. But anyway, though, I guess we'll just start with Trey McBride. I don't want to make this very anticlimactic, but he might be my best tight end in football. He's obviously elite. Again, outside of only scoring, one touchdown last year, he was probably the best tight end overall in football. His numbers were elite. His blocking is really elite as well. Trey McBride, he's the man. I don't want to be seeing this right now, bro. What are we doing? Whatever. Up next, I think this is, what's his name? It's something Higgins. I don't want to just say Higgins because that's just not fair for him. It's, where is he? Elijah Higgins. Elijah Higgins is a decent backup. I'm not going to call him a low level backup. That's not fair for him. Elijah Higgins can make a catch underneath. He can run decent routes. He'll block sort of for you. I wouldn't say he does a great job blocking, but we look at his numbers last year. If this is going to do anything but load. There we go. He puts up numbers. He's again, I don't want to call him a high level. He's just really a backup, to be honest with you guys. I don't want to call him a high-level backup. He's just there, bro. I mean, that's what it is. I'm going to put elite blocker down here, too. Because, let's be honest, guys. If you're a bottom tight end, it's big on your team, but, how much does that really matter? Elijah Higgins is just a normal backup tight end. Tip Ryman, he is an elite blocker. That's really the only reason he's in football. At this point in his career, he is a guy that might make a play underneath. He can break a tackle once in a while, but at the end of the day, guys, he's really on this team to block. It's that simple. He's huge. That's what he does. Even though he doesn't sustain too great, he's an elite blocker. Josiah DeGuara, I'm going to call backup tight end just because of the experience he has had. We're not going to that. Josiah, what is it called? Josiah DeGuara is a guy, I don't know where he is. He might have got cut. It doesn't really matter, though. He's a backup tight end. I mean, he did a couple good years for the Broncos. Not the Broncos, the Packers. He's decent. Kyle Pitts, where do we put him? Honestly, he has to go an average. Because of the fact that he is still a talented player and he still doesn't really again, you can't ignore that. His numbers are really disappointing. Everyone's like, oh, this is the year for him in fantasy. Again, I understand that's kind of the notion with him. But him actually tight end, he can't block. The reason they drafted him was to be a mismatch. There's not many tight ends that are like that where you can just put him in a situation and he'll win. The fact that, again, even then he's still not winning those battles too often, and again, like I said, he can't block. It's just kind of a big mess. But at the same time, he's still talented enough to be at least somewhat productive. So that's why he's an average. Again, he's had at least one more touchdown. He's had that every single year of his career. So I expect 5 from him this year. If that pattern keeps going. But I'm gonna put him in average because I'm not one of those people oh yeah, he sucks. But let's be honest, guys. Kyle Pitts is not a guy you want to start at tight end. He's just not your guy. Charlie Warner, he's a high level backup. I really like him as a blocker. He does break tackles when he catches the football. But at the end of the day, guys, kind of just a really good blocker. But again, at the same time, he has some receiving value. Dean Quintariano, he's a depth tight end. He's never really done that much in the league. He's just kind of a big dude. And there's really not much else to him. Mark Andrews for me is still a elite. I don't know. This isn't really the right way to put it. This is really good, I guess is the best way to put it, right? Do I put him? Honestly, he probably goes in the star still. Mike Andrews still puts the good enough numbers and is still, again, a decent enough blocker. I think they deserve to be in this tier because he's still getting a really freaking good tight end. But at the end of the day, guys, he's not some elite tight end, again, like he might have been a couple years ago in terms of the receiving game. And again, we all know he dropped that pass. But that's not really going to get penalized against him. It was one play. Mark Andrews overall is still a really solid tight end. Again, I understand his numbers weren't too great last year overall. And again, the fact that again he's gotten a little bit of injury issues, I don't really care. I still see Mark Andrews as a very good tight end, even though again he's not really here anymore. Isaiah Likely, I'm just gonna put him straight into good. I don't really care. It's not for two tight end sets, guys, because he's like actually this good. You could argue he's even better than Mark Andrews. It's just the difference that Mark Andrews is definitely a little more consistent than Isaiah Likely. But despite Isaiah Likely not maybe putting up the same season we saw in 2023, he is really, really good. Charlie Kolar is a high-level backup tight end. He is a guy who can, over the middle, is a very good presence for Lamar. His overall route tree is very limited, though, and the fact, again, overall, he doesn't really get off the line very well out of any sort of, other than like a base set for a tight end. And also the fact that I don't really see much of him going in terms of inline blocking either is a little bit of an issue, but again, overall, he's definitely a guy you'd want as a backup guy. Dalton Kincaid is a backup. I don't even know. Again, he sucks. As a rookie, I was like, yeah, I like the numbers he put up. I like what I saw. But last year, he just freaking sucked. There's no way. He was absolutely god-awful. He was not the best tight end on that team, and it really wasn't that hard for Dawson Knox to be better. He's just absolutely awful. I don't know what to tell you guys. He's a literal donut at tight end. I was so appalled from what I saw last year. I really don't know where to go with him. Again, I'm definitely overreacting. I really don't care, though. Dawson Knox is a fringe starter. He's never really been consistent enough as a blocker or really in terms of his hands to be a guy that I'd really trust too much. But he's decent in the flat. He's very athletic. He'll make a lot of plays for you. That's really about it on him. And then this is the freaking rookie, right, for the Bills. He's a really good blocker. I know that because in preseason he was just absolutely tossing people. He had Jackson House from, Iowa maybe? No, Georgia Tech, my bad. But he's just a big kind of elite blocker. I'm not going to put him there, though, because I think he is a guy who can at least do some stuff for you. But he's just not really that great. No, I think again, obviously Dalton Kincaid doesn't go there. I was ranting, but yeah, Dalton Kincaid he just sucks. I mean, there's no way around it. Anyway though, Ja'Tavion Sanders for me is gonna go on high level backup. He just was such a flawed player last year. I think he probably, I'll put him in fringe starter. He overall was decent enough in terms of yak yardage to be considered pretty decent, but there was a lot of instances where he just simply did not make the correct reads off the ball to really do much, and also he's just not a guy that I'm the biggest fan of. Tommy Tremble for me is honestly a backup tight end. He's very flawed in his blocking style. I just don't really like it off the jump, and the fact that, again, he really hasn't gotten to a point where that's been consistent enough to be really calling that. I think that's what he brings, but at the same time, he can break tackles. He's definitely a guy that I'd want on my team, but at the same time, he's not really, again, a top priority there. Then we got Mitchell Evans. Mitchell Evans, for me, is a depth tight end. There's really nothing much else to it. Notre Dame he played for? I really wasn't a fan of him out of there. Again, he really wasn't that dynamic enough for me, and also as a blocker, he isn't the most desired either, even though he was did do good there. Colson Lovin, I'm not that I think that was not the most advised pick for him at 10. I wasn't the biggest thing with him is the fact that he will give you solid blocking even though he's not the biggest guy, and also he'll give you decent enough playmaking to kind of put him on the field every single snap. But I think at this point in his rookie season, I think he'll be an elite guy for in two tight end sets because he won't be really worried about always having to do the main assignment. That's why Cole Kmet's there. But at the same time, I think he's definitely a guy that is a solid player. Cole Kmet for me is an average tight end. He's definitely a lot more consistent than I think Colson Lovin would do as a rookie. That's why I think he'll definitely get a lot more of the main roles. But in terms of a receiving game, I think there's definitely a little bit of ceiling that we've seen over the past 2 years with him. And again, especially after a down year last year and the fact that Caleb Williams really didn't get any sort of connection going. It's definitely a little bit of an issue. But overall, I still think Cole Kmet is a solid tight end, but again, at the same time, he's not the most dynamic at this point. Durham Smythe is a elite blocker. That's really the only reason he's in the league, and that's the reason the Dolphins' run game for some years were pretty good, outside of obviously having Alec Ingold there, but he's not, again, he's pretty solid. Mike Gesicki is a good tight end. He's just, again, as a receiver, provides a lot of value for you. He's more of a dynamic guy, definitely a lot more downfield stuff you can do with him. As a blocker, he's kind of just all over the place, but in the red zone, you can also do stuff. He kind of proved himself back there after, again, really not having much productive season with the Patriots. I guess he had an okay season in 2023 and 2022 with the Dolphins, but again, really solid season last year. The Bengals starting 10, and look where he is now. Tanner Hudson is a elite blocker. I gotta put him in high level backup again. He's a really good guy. He's really scrappy. I don't want to say that's really nothing to it, but guys, Tanner Hudson's a guy you want him on your team. He's just that gritty player, and he's not going to make many mistakes as a blocker. Eric Gall is a backup player. Really rough rookie season for him. I don't think he's exactly bad, though, so I'll give him some chances. But overall, he didn't really run many great routes last year. Struggled to get open. Definitely a guy that you'd want to see improve for sure. And he really hasn't done too much this preseason. Drew Sample go right next to him. He's just a backup tight end. There's really nothing much else to him. David Njoku is a star tight end. The numbers really fell off a little bit after, again, the trade deadline and stuff like that. But again, he's one of the more athletic and talented players at this position in the league. Also, we all know about his ability to make plays in the open field. Again, he's one of the more dynamic guys like that. You could even call him an elite tight end if you wanted to. I just don't see, again, really upside in terms of a blocking guy. And always, there's definitely some plays in terms of if you run the wrong scheme with him that is going to be a little bit more limited to, which is probably why the Browns didn't really trade him. But at the same time, he's a really good tight end. He's a really good player. What is his name? Harold Fannin. I think he'll be a backup tight end as a rookie. He just isn't really a guy that, again, I like a lot of the things he has in terms of sustainability, in terms of receiving tools, but until he really becomes a guy you can really trust as a blocker and consistently making plays in the open field, there's really no use for him because his hands aren't always the greatest. And really, let's be honest, guys, his route tree is very, very limited. And then we got, what is this? Blake Whiteheart. He's a depth tight end. I mean, he just gives you absolutely nothing in the receiving game. There's really no reason you'd have him outside of the fact that, I mean, you can maybe kind of pull him in as a blocker. Jake Ferguson, after a down season, I'm going to put him in. I'm still going to keep him as good. Again, I understand that him and Dak Prescott really didn't get off the greatest foot to start the season. Nothing against, anything that actually happened, but they definitely struggled with connections. And again, after, a massive 2023 from Jake Ferguson, I think he definitely took a step back from me being a star guy. But he's still a solid blocker, definitely deserved to be in that tier. Next up, Luke Schoonmaker. He's a backup tight end as well as Taylor Spanford, who's a depth tight end. Neither one of those guys are exactly bad, but I just don't see Luke Schoonmaker as much more than maybe a yak guy once in a while. And then Spanford isn't really much at all. Evan Ingram. He is a good tight end. He's not a star tight end. The numbers really weren't that great last year. He gets targeted too much. He's more of, again, like a volume tight end, to be honest with you. He is pretty crafty, again, underneath and even in the slot. But again, his blocking has never really been decent. And the fact, again, he really isn't much more dynamic than he was in 2023 is kind of an issue for me. Again, the only season that I've really seen out of him in the past 3 or 4 years where he's been like an actual, like true, like really freaking good tight end was probably 2022, where, again, his first year with the Jags. But overall, for me, he's a solid tight end. Again, I like him a lot, but at the same time, like there's only so much you're going to get out of him. I think he's definitely a little bit overrated in that aspect. Adam Trotman is a elite blocker. No, I'm joking. He's a backup tight end. I don't know what the Saints were thinking, but yeah, he's a backup tight end. Lucas Kroll, I'm gonna still give him a chance, but at this point, I think I'm gonna put him in backup as well. I don't think he's a bad player by any means, but like I don't know. He's just a guy who hasn't really shown me much. And then Nate Atkins is not Nate Atkins. Adkins. What's his name? I don't even know who'll make this roster, to be honest with you guys. Yeah, Nate Atkins. I was right. He doesn't stay healthy, and he's just not very good. Sam Laporta, for me, is an elite tight end. I understand the numbers really weren't there last year, but he's still been one of the most consistent receiving tight ends the past 2 years. And the fact that he still hasn't had a really bad game overall yet in his career, I think is really good. And also as a blocker, I think he's definitely a little bit underrated as well, even though it's obviously not the best part of his game. What's this guy's name? How do I not remember it? He's been the backup for a while now. It's something Wright. Brock Wright. There we go. Brock Wright for me is a fringe starter. I would think a lot of teams would like him a lot. Again, just the fact that, again, he's a very good blocker overall, very consistent in that way. The biggest issue with him, though, is the fact that he will not exactly give you any sort of downfield play as a tight end, despite, most of the time giving you really solid yak yardage plays, which I think is big. But yeah, I'm gonna put him in fringe starter because I think he's a solid player. Shane Zylstra used to be a receiver. He's definitely going to be a high-level backup. Again, at the end of the day, guys, he'll give you really good receiving. For tight end, again, you used to be a receiver. Obviously, again, that's just common sense. Also, I think that his blocking's come on a little bit as well. But at the end of the day, he's not really anything crazy. Kenny Yeboah is a depth tight end. He's just not very good. That's the best way to put it, even though he's pretty athletic and pretty fast. That's really all you get with him. Tyler Kraft is a star tight end. He's not an elite guy. He hasn't really put up the same production for me there. But he's definitely a guy that you're going to have to watch on the field because he will get open and make plays. Luke Musgrave is a backup. He sucks. I don't know what to tell you. I want to say he's like Dalton Cade, but he's not. He's been bad when he's played and he's been injured. Again, unless you're play, bro, you're going to run yourself out of the league. Figure this out. Dez Fitzpatrick's now tight end. I think I'll put him in depth because I don't really see him becoming much of a blocker. And then I don't know, who's Lucas Sims. He's a solid blocker from what I've seen. Dalton Schultz, he's a good tight end. Again, him very similar to Jake Ferguson, except being a little bit more older and a little bit more experienced. He's not a great blocker, though, so that kind of hurts him. But as a tight end receiving guy, he gives you pretty good value. Brevin Jordan, I like him a lot. I'm going to put him in high-level backup. He's just not really the most playable guy at times, but overall still very good. Cade Stover, I liked a lot what I saw. Also going to put him there. He had a solid rookie season. Tyler Warren is a rookie. I expect to be a good player. I understand that I might not be the most high on him that some other guys are, and the issues with the fact that he really isn't much of a blocker at this point. And again, I think he's been a little bit more effective as of recently. As a receiver, they can put him in a lot of different spots, and I think that's a very valuable tool. A lot of these guys can't really be put in that. And also, again, if he can just really be, again, kind of a decoy in a way, again, prove that he can block a little bit, and again, he'd be used in motion like that, he can be a guy that I think will be used in a very, very good way and have a very good rookie season. Jelani Woods is a high-level backup. He gives you definitely a higher ceiling than most of these other guys. It's just the fact that overall his blocking is flawed. He's not really going to give you much in terms of a route tree, which again really hurts what your offense can do. Molly Cox is a backup tight end. He's been with them. I don't even know how he's still on the team, but again, very solid blocker, and he doesn't really drop many passes. Not Alec Ogletree. It's the other Ogletree. I don't even know what his first name is, but I actually watched a decent amount of his film last year. In the what was it, the 120 snaps he got out of him last year. Drew Ogletree. There we go. He is a solid blocker. That's why he's on this team. Albert Okwuegbunam is a depth tight end. He's not very good. And then Will Malroy is probably one of the worst guys in this list because he's just not very good. Brennan Strange, yeah, this is a rough one. I'm going to put him in fringe starter. He really didn't have a great rookie season. I'm kind of still a little puzzled why they took him in the second round. But he is probably in a very similar situation to Dalton Kincaid. He's got to prove himself, even though I think he definitely had a little bit more better every year than Colin Kincaid. This is Hunter Long. He's not even an elite blocker. He's not good. Johnny Mutt's an elite blocker. That's the definition of it. Quentin Morris is a depth tight end, obviously. Travis Kelce, for me, I'm going to still stick in elite because he still put up pretty darn good numbers despite the attempts per catches per break tackle being pretty bad in the yak yardage per play per target were pretty bad as well. But he still creates separation pretty good, and he's going to need to have a better year. Again, I think that'll definitely be able to do it, and I think, again, he's more locked in this season. I'm not really think that was much of anything. But, yeah, Travis Kelce, to see him really kind of, I wouldn't say bounce back, but definitely have a more consistent year would be nice to see. Again, the respect's there. Not Cedric Gray. Noah Gray. He is a good tight end for number 2 sets just because, again, he's very versatile and very reliable. Robert Tonyan, for me, honestly, is a backup tight end. Again, we all talk about what he did back in, 2020, with the Packers where he had 10 touchdowns, and he kind of had like a slower start to 2021, tore his ACL. Maybe back in 2022 wasn't the same player, and I don't know, he's bounced around for a while, and now he's like the Chiefs' third string guy. Looks to make the roster after a solid preseason. I hope he does. And then Luke Wiley, I think that's not Luke Wiley. I don't even know what this guy's name. Eric Wiley. It doesn't really matter. He's a decent blocker, but he's absolutely nothing as a receiver. Brock Bowers, obviously elite. He's one of the top 3 tight ends in football. He's the most productive receiver, tight end in terms of receiving stats last year. Still a solid blocker as well. But again, I think that was a little bit skewed because he got like 180 targets, something ridiculous like that, which is just, again, for a tight end is unheard of. Again, broke the tight end rookie receiving record. I loved him a lot out of the draft. Again, he just gives you a lot of just different packages for a tight end that, again, similar to Tyler Warren, that you just don't really get a lot. Again, for a true tight end, again, unlike obviously Kyle Pitts, but again, a phenomenal rookie season. Really couldn't ask much more. I would just like to see him become a little bit more explosive, again, if that's going to happen. Michael Mayer is a fringe starter. Again, I understand he's been underwhelming his first 2 seasons, but on film he's given you some really good signs. And the fact that I still don't really think he's done really anything that he can is, again, a good sign there. Definitely get moved. And then Ian Thomas is a backup tight end. I don't think he's bad. He's just not very good. And then Justin Shorter, obviously, former receiver, is going to be a depth tight end because he really doesn't know what he's doing just yet. Will Dissly. Yeah, for me, Will Dissly is a fringe starter. He's, honestly elite for for 2 tight end sets. Last year they used him that way, and I think he actually had a pretty decent season because of that. But at the same time, when you're putting him in like a real true receiver set, it won't get open. And also, again, there's some things you can't really use with him just because, again, he's not really the most quick guy. Honestly, Tyler Conklin for me is an average tight end. I understand the meme with like the no touchdowns for a while there, but again, he's going to give you solid blocking and will be a reliable guy as a receiver and can make a big play when you need him to sometimes. But overall, I think he's a solid guy. Orlando Gatson, I don't know, backup. I think he can definitely turn into that. And then I don't even know who this dude is. Tyler Higbee, I think, is an average tight end as well. I want to put him in good, but I don't really know if that's This is tough. Does he go with these guys? I think I will. Tyler Higbee's a very valuable guy for the Rams. He's been their tight end for, what is it now? 6. He's been there for 8 years now. Again, I think just last year, though, the fact that he came back and showed like so much better play than what we saw tight end to start the season, I think that was a big thing that I think kind of boosts him into this year, despite it only being 3 games. I expect another solid season out of Tyler Higbee, as again we've always seen. Colby Parkinson is, I kind of get to start an average because I think that's what he's been, but I understand the thing. Colby Parkinson's a decent backup. Again, he's not a starter. We saw that last year. He really didn't do much. But at the same time, again, he definitely deserves to be there. Terrence Ferguson, again, I like a lot of things I see. But again, as a rookie, I'm just sticking him in backup because I think he definitely has a lot more developing to do. And then Davis Allen is a solid blocker. Jonnu Smith is going to go in good just because of the numbers he put up. I don't really see that sticking, but again, those speak volume, and the fact that he's still not an absolutely awful blocker also helps him as well. Farrell Brown is a high-level backup, very solid blocker, very good yardage out of him. He's a very good player. Again, that's a backup, obviously. Julian Hill is a depth tight end, and now going to DJ Hockenson. He's an elite tight end. I, again, understand the numbers haven't been really the greatest because of, again, the injuries, but at the same time, who cares? Again, when he's on the field, he's one of the more productive guys at that position. Josh Oliver is I'm just putting back up. He makes a lot of mistakes for my liking. And again, overall, his blocker isn't the most effective. Gavin Bartholomew is an elite blocker. That's what he will be in the football. Hunter Henry is a good tight end. No, I think he's going to go right to Tyler Higbee. He's an average tight end for me. Again, he just doesn't really give you much of a ceiling, even though, again, his numbers were pretty solid last year. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of that. And also, again, I don't know. Again, him and Tyler Higbee are very similar. Austin Hooper is a high-level backup. I think that we've come to that realization now. And then this is, I don't even know who this is. The Patriots are running some dudes out that might not be the greatest here. I don't even know what's going on here. Something Bell. Yeah, you're a depth guy, I guess. Juwan Johnson's an average starter as well. No, I'm probably going to put him here. Juwan Johnson just isn't really that consistent enough for me to really put him anything higher than here. I think he's definitely a decent player, but, like, again, the numbers really haven't been the greatest, at least as of last year. And, again, I'm not really just the most moved by him, despite him being a decent red zone guy. Foster Moreau is a backup. No, he's a high-level backup. He's too talented. Outside of him, again, being a guy that, again, it's gotten time to start. Again, I guess the drop against the Jaguars a couple years ago is what comes into mind, but he isn't the greatest in terms of hands. And also, I think that he's a guy that, unless he kind of, like, just has a big season, I don't really know where you can put him else other than that. Taysom Hill is a high-level backup as well, just because, again, what you can use him for, even though, again, realistically, he's not, like, the greatest tight end. Jack Stoll is a backup tight end. I wouldn't be mad if he was my number 2. Theo Johnson is a fringe starter-ish. I'm putting him high-level backup, guys. He has not really proven to be a consistent NFL player at this point. In fact, that is still a reality. Is kind of a little bit concerning. I'm joking. Like, again, we'll see what he can do, but that's where he's going to go after his rookie season. Greg Dulcich is a donut. Daniel Bellinger is also a donut, but he's also a decent blocker, so I'll put him there. Chris Manhertz, again, also is not good, and I don't know how to pronounce this dude's name. But realistically, Manhertz goes here. Dulcich, yeah, they both suck. I won't say Dulcich sucks, but he's not good. Is this Mason Taylor? I think it is. Mason Taylor has been really good in camp, and I think he's definitely the best tight end in this room. But realistically, as a rookie, I think he could definitely get up to here. But I think he'd definitely be better fit in 2 tight end sets because that's what he saw a little bit at LSU last year, and I like what I saw. So I'm going to put him there. Jeremy Rucker is a solid blocker, but again, he's not a receiver at all. Denzel Smart, outside of being a decent yak guy at times, I think he's actually not a bad backup. And then this guy is going to go right there because I haven't really seen much of him in preseason, which is a little bit of an issue. Dallas Goedert, I think he's a good tight end. I think that's just more the fact that I think, again, he gets open pretty decently, but like realistically, is he that much better than Tyler Higbee and Hunter Henry? Probably not. I could put them in a different tier, but I think this is very fair. They're good. They're average, solid tight ends. Average, I think, is a little, at least in this tier, this is a little bit more nice. Or a higher tier. I think this is like a solid tight end. This is a guy that can really do a little bit more. These are the guys that are like, yeah, those guys, they're really good. And then you got elite tight ends, obviously, at the top. Keep going on, though. Grant Calcaterra is a backup tight end. Granson, I don't know. He's just kind of there. Brian, this is the guy they got. I think he actually goes in backup as well just because he has a little bit more of a ceiling there. And I don't even know who this dude is. Pat Freiermuth, for me, is going good. He had a really nice season last year. I expect another good one as well. Again, I understand that Jonnu Smith's there as well. I don't really know what's going on with those two. Darnell Washington is a high-level backup. He's too big for me not to put him there. He's just straight up bad as a receiver the past 2 years. Hasn't done really much of anything. But the fact that, again, you still get that size, and he's going to be a good blocker anyway. You cut it. He's got to go there. Connor Hayward got cut, so he can't be very good. Parham, yeah, he's a solid blocker, I guess. I'll give him that. George Kittle, obviously elite. He's probably the best tight end in football right now. Again, he's been doing it for a while, and last year he put up really good numbers. And, yeah, it's probably, honestly, we'll guess if we order this. I'd go Kittle, McBride, Bowers, honestly, Laporta, Kelsey, then Hockenson, just because Hockenson doesn't stay healthy, and Kelsey's still really good despite, again, the numbers not being great. Ross Willie, he's a high-end backup. I like what I see out of him. Farrell, probably put him in backup. Noah Fant, for me, is an average tight end. I think he's a little – No, he's average. The numbers aren't the most amazing, but he's very athletic, and again, he does a lot of things for you that some other guys can't. Elijah Arroyo, as a rookie, I think he'll end up being a fringe starter. I think he's a little bit more flawed than people want to say for that. And he's also a very stiff route runner, which I think will definitely hurt him a lot. But at the same time, again, if he can make plays underneath, that'll be a good falling back for him. Aaron Bonner, I don't know, it's something. It's Bonner. You've seen him play. He's a solid backup. He can block. He'll give you something receiver. Eric Sauber's a depth guy, obviously. Cade Otton for me is a good tight end. I don't want to put him in star, but again, he's definitely trending towards there. I think there's definitely a little bit of a difference between these guys, though. That's why that tier's there. Payne Durham's the lead blocker. Ko Keith also is going to go there, and then this guy's a backup. Chig Okonkwo is going to go in, honestly, here. I'm not the... This is tough. No, he's going to go here. Chig Okonkwo, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I don't think he's really that great. But at the same time, again, he's a starting tight end in football. Like, that's what he ended up being. Gunnar Helm had a pretty interesting rookie season. I'm putting him high-level backup. I think he'll probably stay there this year. And then Josh Wiley's this elite blocker. And finishing out with the Commanders, Zach Ertz probably honestly deserves to be in average. He had a really good season last year, kind of a career renaissance. Do I see that happening this year? Probably not. But again, as long as he puts up decent numbers, I don't really see why he can't be there. Eric Sinat, for me, is a high-level backup. He had a really nice rookie season. I really look what I see with him as a blocker. No, not there. High level backup. And then John Bates, overall, probably, we know he's a little bit limited, but he's going to go in backup tight end there. With that said, that's all I got for the 2025 NFL tight end rankings. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, with the jerseys mixing things up, and again, really good tiers from this dude right down here. Give him the credit there. And again, if you guys enjoyed these, go watch the rest of the one. I think we're mostly through the defense at this point. And until we get to wide receivers tomorrow, which will be an absolutely crazy one, yeah, have a good night.
That play. Under 20 to go. End zone shot. Tinsley. Come on. Did he catch it? Touchdown is the call. Career with the Washington Commanders. And he goes up and makes a play. Another one. He has definitely shown that he's going to be on a roster this year. If it's not in Cincinnati, it'll be somewhere else. But if you're Washington right now watching this guy, you'd say, boy, we could sure use him right now with the Terry McLaurin situation.